You know, the best thing about Mac Demarco, I mean, not only does he seem like a super chill guy, but he coined the term jizz jazz. Is that not the most fun genre name to say ever? Hey everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the third full-length studio album by Mac Demarco, an indie singer-songwriter who was originally based out of New York, but actually recently moved to Los Angeles during the recording process for this record. Now, you might recall back in 2015, I actually co-reviewed with Anthony Fantano of The Needle Drop, his last mini LP, Another One, which I thought was another really solid project from him. I really enjoyed Salad Days, 2 was great, even Rock and Roll Nightclub. I've really been a fan of the majority of his material, but I do find that it gets a bit tedious for me. It's not always something that I replay, although there are a lot of standout tracks for me. Now, I went into this album with relatively high expectations, and in fact, the album leaked ahead of time by about a month, so I had some time with it, and I did put it on the back burner, but I got back to listening to the record because it is kind of one of those moody albums. It's something that you need to have the mood for. You need to be in the right headspace for. And this is Mac's most mature project to date. And I really like that he's embracing these themes of not only getting older, but also coming back into contact with his father, who he obviously had a falling out with. He wasn't there for Mac as a child growing up. He was a user, abuser, all of the above. And Mac kind of pushed him out of his life, didn't really care about him. But now that his father's been diagnosed with cancer, a lot of this album, especially towards the end, really deals with him coming to terms with that. Not necessarily being upset, but just kind of being like, I don't know how to feel. Should I feel bad that I don't really feel that bad at all, especially because he wasn't there for me? And I love some of the things that he has to say. Especially, I saw him on the Mark Maron WTF podcast, and he talked about this song in particular towards the end of the record, and he's talking about his feelings on it, how he feels about his dad, and his dad apparently called him up and is like, oh, I heard the song, and this was actually, I believe, My Old Man, the opening track from this. And he said, you know, kid, I heard your song about me. And Mac says, wait till you hear the rest of the album, buddy. He's in for a ride here. If you know anything about Mac Demarco, you know that he kind of has this soft rock tone to his music, almost a little bit jazzy, something that has the flavor of maybe elevator music, but with more of an upbeat tone, something that you can actually snap your fingers, bob your head, and sing along to. And there's plenty of melodies from Mac's discography that get stuck in my head quite frequently, like the title track from his most recent full-length album, Salad Days. That's an excellent one. And then there's some others from 2 and the mini LPs as well that'll pop up in the back of my head, and I'll be like, yeah, that was actually a really, really catchy, well done tune. I'm excited to hear more material from Mac, and he's no stranger to that here. It's just that if his last records were him sticking to his guns, this is him flexing here. He's added in some extra material. There's some outside instrumentation, all played by him, of course, but I believe I'm hearing like a wooden mallet on Dreams from Yesterday, really just doing that chiming in the background. A fantastic tune. There's some synthesizers, like on another one of my favorite moments here, On the Level, which was one of the singles from this project. And some of them are a little bit too close to home, and those are the moments that I feel are a bit too familiar, the ones that I'm liking the least, just because they seem too similar to his catalog. But fortunately, that's not the majority of the album. I would say that it goes on its weakest stretch from tracks 3 to 5, really from Baby You're Out, For the First Time, and One Another. Those probably are my least favorites right there, just because, like I said, they're hitting a little bit too close to Mac's previous material. And he does that a couple of other times, but it seems like he mostly shies away from, not that mistake, but at the same time, he wants to do more with his sound, and I can definitely appreciate and embrace that. This Old Dog and My Old Man were the 2 lead singles and also the first 2 songs on the album, and I have to say I'm liking My Old Man a little bit more just because it adds a little bit of extra flair to it. And he talks about looking in the mirror, seeing more and more of his own father in the reflection, and he kind of hates himself for that, but it still somehow fascinates as a little bit of an electrifying tune. I like how it opens up the record, and it really sets the tone for what's to come. He's gonna be talking about his father more on this album. When we see that, family and even friends are kind of a recurring theme here. In the middle of the album, it does take kind of a drastic turn in terms of its pacing, and that track is Sister. It's only 1 minute and 20 seconds long, but here it's an ode to his half-sister, and it really gets the message out quite quickly, but it's very, very nice, almost reassuring reassuring her of what's to come, how he's going to be there even if they're not really close together. I'm not sure if they lived close to each other in New York possibly and now he's moved to LA, but it's just nice to see something like this reassuring someone. The end of This Old Dog is where we really start to get into the deeper material, and On the Level is probably my favorite song along with Dreams from Yesterday. I love the synthesizers on that one, and On the Level is definitely kind of on the nose with its message, and it's followed right after by probably the most bombastic, just going for it track of Mac Demarco's career so far. It's over 7 minutes long, which is unheard of from Mac. Most of his records are right around 30 minutes long, 20 to 30 minutes, and this project is 42 minutes as a whole, and 7 minutes of that is Moonlight on the River. This is a beautiful, somber tune that really evolves as it goes on, and I'm very proud of Mac Demarco, just from a fan, a casual fan I would say, and just from a music fan in general. I like to see somebody really rising up and putting out some of their best material as they go on, and I can see this as another step forward for him, somewhere where he's venting, he's getting things out, he's getting out feelings on his father. He knows that his dad is probably in his final phase of life, but at the same time, he doesn't know. He's willing to admit that he's conflicted on this. Should I give him another chance? Do I go visit him? But more than likely, I'm never gonna see him again, and he's writing from that perspective. The 2-minute song, Watching Him Fade Away, follows right after that, and it once again is a very serious one, and it's almost quite melancholy with the way that his vocals are approached on the track. The instrumentation is kind of bare, and I like that. I like the fact that it does that, and it closes out This Old Dog on definitely a different note that it started, but it's one that I do feel is pretty proper, pretty much a summation of what this record was trying to preach to us. I know a lot of us came to Mac Demarco in the past for kind of his slacker feel, some soft rock that had fun and just kind of like you didn't have to think too much. And it's not that he's just beating us over the head with it here. It's something where you can appreciate that an artist is giving you honesty. This is the longest gap in between projects for Mac Demarco to date, and I can see why. It was worth the wait in my opinion, and there are some more lighthearted moments here in the middle of the record as well. I really like Still Beating. That's one where he really just dials up the guitars, and there's another one that I really like that kind of seems John Mayer inspired, and it's called A Wolf Who Wears Sheep's Clothes. This one has a harmonica on it. I love the guitar, just the guitar picking on this one, especially after the chorus. It's beautiful. I love the way that it starts off, and then it just progresses and builds into something more as the track goes on. I'm definitely impressed with Mac Demarco's new album, This Old Dog, although I'm hesitant to rate it too high just because I know that the replay I don't feel like is going to be that high. A lot of these tracks, like I said, call to mind a specific mindset or a certain headspace whenever you listen to the record, and I do feel like, yes, I've been accepting of that right now. I've been absorbing it. That's why I waited some time to review this project, even though I've had my hands on it for about a month now. I waited because you do have to be in a certain mode, and I really do like that I gave it that chance, and I'm glad that it settled in with me. I'm gonna give This Old Dog a 3.5. Thanks so much for watching my review today, guys. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, because friends don't let friends go unsubscribed. If you'd like to see my co-review with Fantano of the last Mac Demarco project, click right here, or a recent review right here on the channel, click here. Social media in the description, and other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.